All right, let's skip to pleasantries for a second and just imagine this. You're taking your company public. You're out on the road pitching your heart out to investors. But out in the real world, the market is just absolutely crashing. The dot-com bubble has just burst, your customers are literally going bankrupt left and right, and you are bleeding cash. Then, you get a call from your banker and they tell you something that makes your blood run absolutely cold. Okay, let's dive into this explainer.
Your banker tells you that you have exactly 3 weeks of cash left. 3 weeks until you go entirely bankrupt. Now, this wasn't some hypothetical nightmare scenario. This was the absolute terrifying reality for Ben Horowitz. As the CEO of LoudCloud back in 2001, he was trying to pull off an IPO in what was widely regarded as the worst possible time for a tech company to go public, with literally almost zero money left in the bank.
So the ultimate question here is, what do you do? What do you do when every single option looks like a guaranteed path to destruction? Look, this explainer is going to completely shatter all that conventional, motivational business fluff you're used to. Today, we are going straight into the dark side of entrepreneurship to give you raw, battle-tested insights on how you actually survive when everything around you is falling apart.
Which brings us to part 1, the myth of easy answers.
We've got to start by dismantling the illusion created by typical management and self-help books. Enter our source material for today, Ben Horowitz's The Hard Thing About Hard Things. See, Horowitz didn't just theorize about management from some comfortable Ivy League classroom. He lived this absolute nightmare. He navigated massive layoffs, plummeting stock prices, and a hostile press, all to extract real, visceral lessons for founders and CEOs who are out there fighting for their lives.
You know how conventional advice always tells you to set a big, hairy, audacious goal? Well, that's actually the easy part. The hard thing isn't dreaming big. The hard thing is waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat because that dream has turned into a total nightmare. There is no step-by-step recipe for motivating a team when your business has just turned to absolute crap.
Let's move into part 2, surviving the startup struggle.
We really need to talk about the psychological toll of leading a failing company. Horowitz defines this incredibly dark place simply as the struggle. The struggle is when you're sitting there wondering why you even started the company in the first place. It's when your employees think you're lying to them, and honestly, you think they might be right. It's that place where self-doubt literally morphs into self-hatred. We have to validate this dark side of entrepreneurship because if you're in it right now, you are not alone. And more importantly, the struggle is exactly the crucible where greatness comes from.
In Silicon Valley, they actually have a dramatic wartime vocabulary for these life-threatening episodes. It's called WFIO. And yeah, it stands for exactly what you think it does. We're effed, it's over. Now, every great company goes through at least 2, maybe up to 5 of these episodes. Horowitz, he went through a dozen of them. And when he asked other legendary CEOs how they survived their own WFIO moments, they all gave the exact same raw answer. I didn't quit.
All right, part 3, firing, layoffs, and lead bullets.
When you're staring down total destruction, you've got to pivot to some highly uncomfortable, deeply practical actions. If you have to lay people off, there is a right way to do a fundamentally brutal thing. Step 1, get your head right. The company failed its financial plan. This isn't a performance review for the employee, so don't treat it like one. Second, do not delay. Word gets out, and leaks just cause pure panic. And third, and this is absolutely crucial, managers must lay off their own people. You cannot just outsource this to HR. If you hired someone and they busted their ass for you, you must have the courage to look them in the eye and face them yourself. Outsourcing this task, it fundamentally breaks your company culture forever.
And what about when your product is just flat out losing in the market? Don't look for magic. Horowitz actually saved his later company, Opsware, by totally rejecting his team's pleas for quick fixes or clever pivots. He looked at them and told them flat out, there are no silver bullets for this, only lead bullets. A lead bullet means going straight through the front door and dealing with the big, ugly guy blocking your path. No magic tricks, just the agonizingly hard work of simply building a better product.
Which leads us to part 4, peacetime versus wartime leadership.
This brings up a massive realization. Your leadership style literally has to change depending on whether your company is thriving or dying. In peacetime, sure, you want to maximize creativity and broaden your opportunities. A peacetime CEO minimizes conflict. But a wartime CEO? They heighten the contradictions. In wartime, your company typically has exactly 1 bullet left in the chamber. You simply cannot prioritize people's feelings over the survival of the company.
Think about it. Most management books are written by consultants who study successful companies during times of peace. So they teach things like broad-based buy-in. But true survival? That requires an unapologetic, almost dictatorial wartime execution. A wartime CEO does not have the luxury or the time to indulge in consensus building. If there is a speck of dust on the prime directive, they care about it and they address it immediately.
Part 5. Building a courageous culture.
Look, even when you're taking heavy hits, you still have to maintain a strong, principled organization. And you do this by avoiding what Horowitz calls management debt. It's a lot like technical debt, where you write quick, dirty code that inevitably breaks later. Management debt is taking the easy way out of hard conversations. It's giving everyone the exact same bonus just to avoid ruffling feathers, or keeping a popular but totally useless project alive just for team morale. It buys you peace today, sure, but it systematically destroys your company's performance in the long run.
So how do you actually enforce a courageous culture? Well, when Horowitz and Mark Andreessen started their venture capital firm, they wanted to show deep structural respect for founders. So they created a pretty extreme rule. If you are late to a meeting with an entrepreneur, the fine is $10 per minute, period. No excuses. That kind of rule completely shocks the system, and it effectively programs the company's culture to value the entrepreneur's time over their own.
And finally, Part 6, Lessons from the Struggle.
We've covered some incredibly intense ground today. If you're going to survive the hard things, here is your rapid-fire playbook. Number 1, tell it like it is. Stop giving into the psychological pressure to be overly positive all the time. 2, managers must fire their own people to preserve trust. 3, stop looking for silver bullets, use lead bullets, and just do the hard work. 4, avoid management debt by having those tough conversations today. 5, know exactly when you need to drop the peacetime etiquette and become a wartime CEO. And 6, the absolute most important lesson of all, don't quit.
I want to leave you with this powerful closing thought from Horowitz. Life is struggle. We have to stop looking for easy answers. The greatness you're looking for, the success you want, it is built directly inside the hardship. So don't run from it. Embrace the struggle. Which leaves me with one final question for you to think about. What is the one hard thing in your business right now that you are avoiding, and what lead bullet do you need to fire today to solve it?